There is a fish in the Socha River valley of Slovenia that was once nearly extinct, but due to the efforts of the Balkan Trout Restoration Group, it has rebounded to a point where it is once again a coveted trophy. Capable of reaching immense size, larger fish are primarily predatory and nocturnal. Smaller fish, however, can be caught on dry flies, nymphs, and streamers. That is, if you are a patient and very lucky angler. Welcome to the amazing marble trout of the Balkan Peninsula in Eastern Europe. Extremely beautiful to behold, extremely maddening to catch. Dan Shepard of the Grizzly Hackle Fly Shop in Missoula, Montana has only one thing on his mind: landing a big marble on the fly.
Yeah! Oh. I just stuck him a little too hard.
A little too excited.
We've been fishing for that fish for about an hour.
Yeah.
Put that little Griffith's net on and he got a good cast in there. He sipped it and I stuck him on the lip and broke it off.
Imagine looking out your airplane window and seeing this just moments before landing in Slovenia. Then try and imagine a capital city more picturesque than Ljubljana. We had just one day to tour this tiny center of Slovenian culture and food. So Steve Jensen, Dan Shepard, and I employed the service of tour guide Matija Gliha for an amazing walk around town.
Couples, they come here to lock their love. Sometimes they write even a name, or...
Being a city of passion, couples lock their love on Butcher's Bridge and toss the key into the river. Ljubljana has a legacy over 2,000 years old, but it is one of the youngest capitals in the European Union. Its population of 300,000 is young and lively. Music, art, and architecture abound, and the Ljubljana River flowing through the center of town draws residents and visitors alike to congregate along her banks and enjoy her quiet waters.
Make my daughter proud,
Yeah. Beautiful.
Matija guides us through a colorful labyrinth of side streets and history before ending our tour at Ljubljana's main church, the impressive St. Nicholas Cathedral.
Direction on the right-hand side, God's Mother, St. Mary. We say that she's a Slovenian queen, that's why she has a crown on the top.
We bid our goodbyes in appreciation to Matija and take the funicular up to the Ljubljana Castle and the famous Nagradu or Castle restaurant high above the city. There, under the direction of Chef Walter Kramar and manager Leon Furman, we sample course after course of natural and organic farm-to-table cuisine. Slovenians are enthusiastic foodies and everything is delicious beyond belief. By the time dessert comes around, all Dan could do was take a picture. Homemade brandies are a tradition throughout the Balkans, and Leon treats me to the brandy bar, a fitting end to this incredible midday feast.
Cheers.
We climb off a few calories on the stairs to the top of the castle tower, and then continue our tour in town through the city market, featuring, of course, more endless varieties of fresh foods. Lazy afternoons in Ljubljana are spent whiling away the hours in tiny bars and cafes, and people watching along narrow passageways, all under the watchful eyes of the Ljubljana dragons that festoon Dragon Bridge and guard the city. As the sun sets in the Slavic sky, the pulse of the city quickens and Ljubljana reawakens to a vibrant street life. as always, food abounds, and we sample everything our stomachs can hold.
And you have horse, but this horse.
That's horse?
Yes, it's horse.
You eat horses?
Yes, but it's special type of horse. It's only for the meat. Only for the meat.
Only for the meat?
Yes, it's not for riding.
It's not for riding.
No.
Should I try it?
Yes.
Okay. Eating horse.
Yes. Enjoy.
That's good, chef.
Okay, thank you. Bye bye.
Yeah.
The next morning, we are packed and ready and waiting outside the Park Hotel for our fourth partner in piscatorial pursuits, Dave Goodhart, who arrives from the airport with our transportation for the next 2 weeks. Dave is a lifelong professional fishing guide, and he has just come direct to Ljubljana 2 days after finishing his season at Royal Wolf Lodge in Alaska. He is our self-declared designated driver, and his mission on this trip is representing the Montana-based Trout Conservancy, which hopes to study the success of marble trout reintroduction in Slovenia, and then duplicate that effort to threatened rivers further south in the Balkans. Slovenia is an independent republic bordering Italy, Austria, Hungary, Croatia, and the Adriatic Sea. It separated from Yugoslavia in 1991 and has flourished ever since. Beautiful lakes, rivers, and mountains provide a magnificent backdrop for visiting the country's many historical sites and provide a rich environment for outdoor recreation of every form. Our final destination is the town of Kobarid in the Socha River Valley, and we drive from the ski area of Kranjska Gora over Vršić Pass through the spectacular Julian Alps. Although Slovenia experienced little conflict during the modern-day breakup of Yugoslavia, it was the scene of some of the bloodiest battles of World War I. And these high mountains were where the Italian forces entrenched themselves to battle the combined Austrian and German armies. As we neared the summit of Vršić Pass, Steve recounted tales from Ernest Hemingway's Farewell to Arms, which was inspired from his experience as a volunteer ambulance driver here during the war. It was known as the Battle of Caporetto, the Italian name for the culturally rich town of Kobarid, and it took place from October 24th to November 19th, 1917. After 2 years of defending these high mountain battlefields through bitter winter weather and horrendous conditions, the Italians were finally defeated by Austro-Hungarian and German forces, and the losses were huge. Kobarid was spared, but hundreds of thousands of young soldiers were killed or wounded, and the general suffering on both sides was horrific. There is now an excellent museum in Kobarid that pays homage to Hemingway and remembers the tragedy of these battles, and there is a war monument on the hill above the town where 7,000 Italian soldiers are buried. Upon our arrival in Kobarid, we immediately waiter up with fishing guide Marian Priatel, who pulls out his wallet of huge marble trout streamers, which Dave finds fascinating and perhaps bordering on the standard definition of fly.
In stay in the water like that.
Yeah. It's like a jig on the bottom.
Yeah.
But we are more than ready to learn, and the size of Marian's flies has me envisioning monster trout as we hike down to the Adriša River. Marian is known as one of Slovenia's best marble trout anglers, and he demonstrates his method of swimming a lead head streamer around big rocks along the bottom of the river, hoping to incite a strike, which he actually gets and misses from a small fish on just his second cast. Big marbles prefer high, off-colored water, and the Adrisha is anything but this late in the season. In fact, low, clear water and spectacular weather will be our constant challenge in our quest for this unique game fish. But despite the day's long drive and somber recollection of the tragedy of war, it's just great to finally be in a river, and we all give it a good effort.
No marble. Guys, come on! Now we go down, and you have right there to the corner big, really big and deep pool. And one time I fished there and I get some rainbow on the little streamer, and from the deep come really big and huge marble and take rainbow and get down and pull the line. It's amazing.
And here's Marianne holding a marble of that size. Amazing indeed. As the light begins to fade, trout start rising in Marianne's marble pool, but our day is done. We need to get up from the river quickly before it gets too dark to see.
Let's go. No matter sea, river, lake, but the most river.
It's been quite an introduction to Slovenia so far, and we're now tired and ready for dinner.
No, if your wife catches a fish and you don't, you're good, because then she'll go again. And then that's good for you.
We should have known by now that that would be anything but a simple affair, as we meet our hosts, Lucian Rejek and Dušan Jesensek, at Villa Noblesa, the private home, vineyard, and angling lodge of fly fishing's true Renaissance man, Branko Gasparin.
I have two sons. One is fisherman and hunter, and the other one is completely normal.
We'll visit more with Branko later in this trip, but here's just a taste of his unique personality in a humorously retouched photo of former Yugoslavian President Tito and the great marble trout man himself. The next morning, Marianne takes us to the lower Socha, which is cloaked in fog and proves the futile fishing effort of hiking along the boulder-strewn banks, looking for water deep enough to even hold fish. As the early morning sun tries to burn through, the river turns ethereal, and what it lacks in action, it more than makes up in imagery. We give it a shot until the signal from Marianne that it's time to head into Kobarid for breakfast. Despite being surrounded by jagged mountain peaks, Kobarid has a distinct Mediterranean feel and Italianic look. Not surprising, as the Italian border is a mere 9 kilometers away. It's fascinating to think of a young Ernest Hemingway living here when the world knew this little hamlet as Caporetto. Our base camp for much of the first week is Hotel Havala, where we grab a quick bite to eat at the streetside
There's
cafe.
jam in there. Yeah.
A little punchy at this point.
We are all anxious to fish, and we load up on classic European breakfast fare before heading back to the Socha. This time, however, we've moved upriver into the famous canyon stretch where Marianne promises us redemption. The hike into the Socha Gorge is steep and strenuous, but what quickens the pulse more are fleeting glimpses through the trees of aquamarine water far below.
Yeah, guys, this is the Socha heaven.
Don't you heaven?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Look at that. Oh, wow. This is why we came to Slovenia.
Called the Emerald Beauty for the color of its water against the white rocks of its riverbed, the Socha is the crown jewel of the Balkan wild river systems. It flows for 140 kilometers through western Slovenia and northeastern Italy, and is the ancestral home of Salmo marmoratus, or marble trout. Today, given the low water and sunny conditions, we are more likely to catch rainbows and Adriatic grayling, but we don't care. We're just ready for a tug, and wading through liquid emeralds is indeed Socha heaven. In case you are wondering, we're all fishing with Hardy rods and reels, both lightweight and classic models. We're using reel floating lines, and many of our best fly patterns were supplied by the Montana Fly Company. All of this gear has been excellent.
Here it comes. It's sliding in.
We are also wearing Patagonia waders and boots. They've been bomb-proof so far in this prickly, steep canyon.
Got it. There you go. Nice. That'll wait, Steve.
It was amazing. The further up the Socha we waded, the more we felt the whole gorge was our own private paradise. The entire day we never saw another angler. In fact, the only other humans we encountered were in kayaks, and there were quite a few of those. With a gradient between 10 and 40%, the Socha Gorge is an endless string of rapids, varying from Class 1 to 5 depending on water level. At runoff, authorities closed the gorge to kayakers as the river simply becomes too dangerous to navigate. But today the Socha was perfect for playboats, and they surfed every wave they could all the way down through the gorge. At first we were worried that the kayakers might affect the fishing, but that was not the case, and many a fine fat fish came to hand. Watching the river just to the left of Dan's belt pack as he tries to coax this Socha River rainbow to eat his dry fly.
Here it comes, here it comes. Yeah! Yeah!
A swing, a miss, and a strike leaves Dan's fly in a tree and Steve in hysterics.
Oh, there, I see him right now. I see him. Run over him. Oh, he's rising.
Got him! Oh,
I didn't have him. Oh, yeah.
coming. Oh.
Our day ends with Dave exasperated over a 25-inch rainbow that eats enthusiastically, but for some reason just won't come tight.
Coming up again. Set it! What the hell? We'll come back. Here he comes. Turn it away.
See, that is the medicine for the fishermen. It's a 15 years old, and it's very, very good.
Is that homemade?
It's a homemade medicine.
Nice wooden box.
Ooh, look at this.
Oh.
Rotating. Very fancy. That is very sweet. Did you build this?
No, one friend gave me this box.
So far on our trip, we fished the Adrisha and the lower Socha with Marian Prietel. Now we're on the Bacha, and fortified with guide Tomo Sotinsek's homemade brandy, we are attempting to catch some very visible trout in some very low water.
Yeah. What if that's a little marble or something?
Steve is first to hook up with a small rainbow that is suddenly chased by a larger fish. Could this be our first marble trout? Steve lands the rainbow quickly and goes for a streamer.
Here's the double bunny we're gonna use on that marble trout. He was chasing that little rainbow that we had just a few minutes ago and nipping at the tail. So while he's feeling aggressive and hungry, we'll throw this streamer out there, get it wet, look like a little minnow. Let's see if he can grab this thing. There we go. Got it.
Oh yeah, marble trout, here we come.
He was aggressive. He was on that thing.
Or maybe not.
That might be a rainbow. That's another rainbow.
Most of western Slovenia is very rural, and folks live off of what they harvest and collect. Homes are heated by wood, lots of wood, and every yard is a cornucopia of vegetables, fruits, and nuts, which are freely shared, even with strange American anglers. As we make our way up the Bacha, we find small runs of deeper water that hold nice fish. Dave Goodhart's day is turning out to be pretty good as he works the shadows and undercut banks with small dry flies.
These fishing here been looking up at the dry flies. This is the third one in this stretch, and I got several down below. And they've been taking there's been a little stonefly hatch, so I just used a little stonefly, and what do you know?
Steve and Dave are also doing well, and as I film them from atop an old railroad bridge,
The wiggle bug.
I suddenly start to feel a vibration in the rails. There's no time to do anything but run to a small platform that I hope is for this purpose.
This is gonna be interesting. Scary as hell.
Wow, that was different.
I cannot say that I think a wiggle bug is a fly. My friend, Larry Tolis in Utah, invented this.
Yeah.
And now they've caught over 100 species of fish on this fly.
Really?
It works everywhere. Sea run brown trout. Oh, rainbows in Alaska love this.
I will try here,
try
also in Socha. We'll see.
Give them a cross string.
Uh-huh.
They strip, they go down.
Yeah. Ah, amazing.
Don't buy into it. Don't do it.
I will try only once.
Only once.
Only
okay.
once.
Use them only if you want to catch
If
fish.
I catch something, I told you.
They definitely catch fish. I won't say they don't. They definitely do.
We break for lunch in a short tutorial on Slovenian beer, a subject Dave and I have decided to major in. As luck would have it, when we get back to the Bacha, we run into two fly tyers photographing nymphs for reference material. Tina Posnick shows me some of her shots, while her partner Gregor Novak gives me the real skinny on how common it is to catch a big marble on the fly.
I'd say every year maybe a dozen large fish get caught. I don't know, from 80 to 95 centimeters. The ones over a meter are rare. A friend of mine caught one about over 15 kilos on this river here. And last year an Italian got one, I think it was 22 kilos on the Socha, on fly gear. That's how big they grow.
That evening, we gather with our host Lucien Rejek and Dušan Jesensek for a special dinner at the Havala Hotel in our honor. As we have found throughout Slovenia, this is a country of serious foodies, and Chef Aleš Havala is no small figure in the restaurant world. His dinner with a distinctive seafood theme is simply fabulous. After 3 days of fishing, we've yet to glimpse a marble trout, but we're about to see some big ones at the Tolmin Fish Hatchery. These are broodstock for restoration programs, and they are very wild and skittish even in captivity. Part of our mission in Slovenia is acting as observers for the Trout Conservancy in Missoula, Montana, which hopes to duplicate the success of the Tolmin Fishing Society's efforts to reintroduce marbles. Lucien Rejek is the chairman of the society, and Dušan Jesensek is in charge of fisheries management. They've agreed to take us to two of the secluded streams where they have discovered isolated populations of genetically pure strain marbles. Our first stop is a tiny stream called the Trebuščica, where Dušan will collect a few samples. The environment is pristine and full of life, and death, as the ever dry-witted Lucien explains.
This is the most poisonous mushroom, Amanita phalloides. If you eat this, you are dead.
You didn't take a bite out of that one side, did you?
Somebody did, yeah.
Electrofishing is the only consistent way to find marble trout. As the 1.5 amp current reaches the fish, electrotaxis affects the nervous system, and thus the muscular system, causing the fish to be attracted towards the positive probe, slightly stunned. Dušan has to be quick on the net to collect the samples his technician shocks from beneath rocks. The electrofishing is good, and finally we're seeing wild marbles from their native environment. Dušan transfers his samples to a holding bin, and then into water that contains a narcotic to further numb the fish for handling.
And whatever we do with the fish, they're always narcotized so that it goes fast and they will suffer less.
They pretty much go to sleep for a short while, giving Dušan a chance to explain their morphology.
The marble from Trebuščica and these red spots were considered to be the sign of hybridization in the past, but with the genetics we prove that fish with this pattern are pure marbles. And this is Euro Plus from this year. That's the size that fish will grow in a year. It's not much, so the growth is not very fast. Here we have two females. They will reproduce in a month. That is 10 inches long. A little bit less red pigmentation. The marble pattern is seen as a little bit better. You'll see the difference with the ones we'll visit in the afternoon, you know.
All of the fish have now recovered and are quickly returned to the stream. We head back to Tolmin for lunch, passing picturesque mountain homes along the way. Back at the Tolmin Fishing Society headquarters, the staff prepares us yet another gustatory tour de force, including wild boar liver, fried potatoes, and venison sausages served in their outdoor picnic gazebo. We then head north to another marble trout stronghold on the Zadlachica River. At one time, genetically pure marbles were thought to be extinct, but the Tolmin Fishing Society's discovery of these pure strain populations have helped immensely in breeding programs to improve genetics and offset the rampant hybridization with local brown trout. It is from this knowledge that Montana's Trout Conservancy hopes to help other endangered fisheries further south in the Balkans.
If you look at the body shape, they are even more torpedo-like with a little bit bigger heads than we've seen.
These fish in Zadlachica are larger and even more what you'd expect a marble to look like.
So you see we have another type of marble trout with quite wide marble pattern. Almost no red pigmentation, just the edge of the adipose fin is red. Maybe just here a small red spot on the body, on the lateral line.
Fishing guide Dave Goodhart, Grizzly Hackle Fly Shop owner Dan Shepard, Wild on the Flies Steve Jensen, and myself are all on a 2-week angling odyssey in Eastern Europe. We've just finished an amazing week fishing the spectacular Socha River drainage in northwestern Slovenia, and we're now headed south onto the Balkan Peninsula.
The hip hop shop.
What happened? I put some gas in, but it turns out it's a diesel.
Big sign diesel right there.
Yeah.
It's all part of the adventure.
Right around the gas tank, it's the same green as the green on the gasoline. Oh wow. Why would they put a gasoline color exactly right around it?
I'm getting worried about this one. This is a bad idea. That's my comment. You have a car bouncing over your head.
Oh. I've never ridden like this before.
It goes on its own.
Rent a car or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't realize it was diesel.
As we leave the ease of the European Union and enter what until recently was the heart of socialist Yugoslavia, we go back to a different era, where cameras are not so commonly tolerated.
No large town after Zagreb.
None of our eyes work well enough to read the map.
Since we're not 100% sure just exactly where Banja Luka is, we're delighted to discover that our Bosnian host is a modern plugged-in dude who guides us in via text messages all along our route.
You know, they got the EU, we got the NAFTA type of thing.
Okay, passports, you guys.
But first we have to leave Slovenia, drive across Croatia and enter Bosnia, multiple border crossings that get progressively nerve-wracking, particularly since I keep trying to get a little clandestine footage for our documentary. So far, only that first guy in Croatia has noticed the camera.
We have our luggage and a lot of fishing gear and some photography stuff. We're going to Banja Luka to meet some people, and then we're going to stay for a week. River. What do you know? That must be the border. It appears to be a big river, judging by the size of the bridge. They just call it Bosnia and Herzegovina. Yeah. Passports. you told people you're going to Bosnia, they're like, Bosnia?
Our final checkpoint is entering Bosnia, and all goes smoothly until a babushka-esque throwback from Stalin's era threatens to derail our expedition.
Hello. Oh. Hello. Hello.
Carinska kontrola, cul kontrol, nešto prijaviti.
We don't understand English.
English. We're going fishing. Yeah.
Fishing, yeah.
Ono otvoriti.
You want to? Okay. He wants to look in.
We survived the border shakedown, but our nerves are frazzled and everyone is exhausted.
Petrol, there it is.
Finally, we are on the outskirts of Banja Luka, and we find the petrol station where we've planned to meet our host.
There they are, standing up front.
At this point, we're over 7 hours late, and we hope our Bosnians are the understanding type.
Hello. My name is Dan.
Hi, Milan.
Hi,
Very
Milan.
nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you.
Hey, Milan.
How's this adventure going now?
Hello. It's quite an adventure.
It's an adventure.
Fortunately, Mita and Milan couldn't be more friendly, and for that we are eternally grateful. We load them into our van for the final drive to the pension. Most of northern Bosnia is very rural and agrarian. Everyone owns a cow and a pig, and most live in simple cottages on small farms. These are hardy folk who care for their animals and raise everything they eat, mostly by hand.
Ciao.
We are staying at Pension Radoja, near the small town of Sapova on the banks of the Pliva River. We awake the next morning to the rich aroma of Turkish coffee and the even richer personality of our host, Plajas Radoja, who is trying to interest teetotalers Dan and Steve into a breakfast shot of homemade brandy. Once again, it's up to me to respect the local customs.
Sure.
After breakfast, we drive through Sapova and stop at the local market where bountiful harvests are evidence of a Bosnia slowly returning from the ravages of civil war. As captured in these poignant images by war photographer James Mason, from 1992 to 1995, the former Yugoslavia was literally torn apart in brutal ethnic and territorial conflict that claimed over 100,000 lives and displaced more than 2 million people, making it the most devastating conflict in Europe since World War II. Every village we passed through had a memorial and graveyard for the local Bosniaks, Serbs, and Croats who lost their lives in the war. Our first day of fishing in Bosnia finds us on the famous Pliva River. Low water and hot, clear conditions are sure to make this normally challenging Spring Creek-like fishery even more difficult. But the guys get down to fly selection with guide Mita Balaban with the unbridled enthusiasm of seasoned trout junkies.
A very, very good fly for this.
How about this?
Yeah. This very, very good fly. Bosnian type of this fly, you see.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Almost
yeah,
same,
okay.
yeah. The one.
As anticipated, the Pliva's famous brown trout and grayling have a bad case of lockjaw, and even a rousing streamside accompaniment from a local accordion player practicing by the river does little to improve the catch rate. But hey, live music while you fish can't be all bad.
Mito, what do you call this berry?
Drenjak, good for stomach, full of vitamins. Using you for product of the juice or the brandy, and very good taste and fresh for the eat.
Yeah, huh?
We break for lunch and an introduction to Plage's Plivovitz philosophy.
Minimal problem, a maximal concentration plivovice, yeah.
Slivovitz, or as Plage calls his Plivovitz, is a local homemade brandy distilled specifically from plums.
Now, I don't know if that's a tradition.
Made throughout the Balkans from whatever backyard fruits are available, and generally called rakia as a more generic term, it is customary in Bosnia to share a glass with just about everyone you meet. That afternoon when we returned to fishing, we stumbled on a major pear brandy operation, which we were invited to watch. Simple pear mash left to ferment in large vats is then poured into a giant copper kettle where it is boiled into steam and distilled into brandy.
Yeah. And also here, always must be cold water, it's better for them. Thank you. 100 liters with yes.
Sad bi mogli popiti rakiju. Evo, samo da popijemo rakiju i...
The resulting elixir in this case had a distinct pear flavor and was frankly delicious.
Delicious. It's my favorite.
Yes, okay.
The bottle used to serve guests had been affixed over a pear flower, and a display fruit had developed inside. We end our first day at Plage's, watching a big soccer match between Bosnia and Italy, before retiring to our quarters to send emails home confirming we'd made it safely to the land of blood and honey, a literal translation of the word Balkan. Day 2 finds us on the Ribnik River, where the first thing we see is 3 French guys crowding a pot of giant brown trout and grayling, a scene commonly found on the crowded home pools of famous trout streams everywhere. This is a very popular dry fly fishery, and local patterns can be bought right on the banks of the river from what has to be the smallest fly shop in the world. The Ribnik is a beautiful spring creek known for its prolific mayfly hatches, resulting in a very healthy population of Adriatic grayling. Mita is convinced we'll see both, so we follow his lead. Grayling are considered a premier sport fish in Europe, and for good reason. Displaying their large red-tinged dorsal fins, they are a truly beautiful trophy capable of reaching serious fighting weight. They are highly selective feeders that will take both nymphs and dry flies, but can be downright exasperating to catch. We were humbled many times during our trip. By late morning, the weather conditions have become perfect for mayflies, and as if on cue, the hatch begins, and the grayling respond.
I might have broke it, I don't know.
As the hatch intensifies, the water around Dave is literally boiling, and his respect for this feisty freshwater sailfish has reached new highs. Finally, he gets another chance, and he focuses on staying glued.
That doesn't mean I'm gonna catch him, but I'm gonna try. Isn't he pretty though? Very pretty. These grayling are also very selective and pretty nice, especially because he actually got caught.
Oh my gosh, look at that.
Pretty brown. Really dark skin with big red spots.
Dan ends the day with our first brown trout of the trip.
12-incher maybe.
A truly beautiful fish.
Classic
Look at him against that green.
Oh, I know.
Back at Pension Radoja, there's a party going on, and Plagius has decided to roast a whole goat in honor of his American anglers. Bosnian beer flows freely and rich fellowship ensues amongst local patriots invited to the feast. These are the cultural experiences that make this kind of adventure fly fishing so rewarding, particularly after a long, hard day of getting our butts kicked by the challenging sport fish of the Balkans. Milan Bakara is sales manager for the Zepter Passport Travel Company in Banja Luka. Charged with developing fly fishing as the first successful post-war incoming tourism program for Bosnia, he is a font of information and takes us on a whirlwind tour of all the possibilities. We log hundreds of miles of driving through every weather condition imaginable, stopping at different rivers along the way, enjoying the local culture, and collecting some pretty unique fishing permits indeed. One of our favorite stops was the Unek River on the Croatian border.
We are now standing very close to the confluence of Una and Unac rivers, and this is actually the place with very, very large trouts, brown trouts and some rainbow trouts. On the other side of the river, this hill and everything behind is Croatia. So this is Una River is border between Bosnia and Croatia. And this bridge that we are standing on right now was destroyed at the last months of the war in 1995 to prevent Croatian forces to come with the tanks across the bridge and join the fight here.
The Unek River begins in the tiny town of Martinbrod, the centerpiece of which are two beautiful churches. Behind the churches is a fish hatchery run by Orthodox monks. It was the hatchery escapees in the headwaters that first caught our attention. After satisfying our immediate need for a tug, we work our way downstream out of the hatchery zone in search of the big trout known to swim these waters.
Saw the largest fish I've ever seen rise on a river, rise right over there on that seam. It's a giant boa, it looks like to me. With probably pushing 30 inches. I don't think I've ever seen him so big. I'm going to throw a tractor pattern over there, see what happens. I have no idea what kind of flight he used for him or what he's eating.
As Dan tries in vain to raise a truly monster fish he saw along the far bank, Mita comes running with news of a big rainbow Dave has just caught further downriver.
Look at your Dave caught. One nice trout, rainbow trout, maybe 2.5 kilo. It's very strong, and one small streamer fishing.
It's all just insult to injury for Dan, whose repeated efforts finally result in a fish not much larger than the sculpin Mita shows us, which is a major food source for the larger trout in the river. Hunger pangs finally drive Dan from the Unak. We are getting used to being extremely well fed on this trip, and today is no exception when we stop in Martinbrod for a lunch of fresh trout and giant pork chops. Closest you're going to come to a rainbow.
I'm going to go. Oh, yeah.
We spend the afternoon exploring the travertine pools of the nearby Una River before packing up our rods for the last time.
There's a hoochin right there. Did you see that? Did you see that? That fish was moving fast, about a 12-incher, and probably about a 36-inch hoochin is right on his tail, just chasing him all over the place, right up this bank. He was holding him back in that tail out. Did you see that? Oh my heavens!
This is best trimmer for hook, very simple for Thai, rabbit, zonker strips, very simple with magic head, have good work in the water.
It's very tough. You know, we got some good anglers here, but we're having a tough time fishing. There's definitely fish out here, but they're not easy to catch by any means. It's extremely technical. You know, part of that probably has to do with the fact that we've had some real tough weather and you know, really bright and sunny, really exceptionally low water, which makes the fish super spooky. But beautiful spot, beautiful scenery, great people, super friendly, great food, great accommodations. But fishing's darn tough.
The top. Wow. This is so cool. You could protect yourself up here, couldn't you?
In Bosnia, for Hucho say, fish of 1,000 casts, the biggest predator in Bosnia River. It's very, very difficult for the catch. Maybe fishing 10 days, not see no one, never knows. Unpredictable fishes. Best time for the fishing Hucho in the November and December. Nothing. Nothing. I'm nothing.
There isn't an ice cream stand anywhere in the Balkans that Dan doesn't know about. And so it's no surprise that the next day we find ourselves buying 2 scoop cones in downtown Banja Luka. Then we head to the offices of Zepter Passport to meet Milan's boss, Melina Pavlovic, and share our positive insight on attracting American anglers to Bosnia.
We are aware of the fact that still the impression about Bosnia is not ideal, but we get back to the totally normal life for years here, and Europeans, people from Europe, they are coming, they recognize what Bosnia has to offer, but it's an effort to convince people from the United States that they should come to Bosnia, but we for sure have a lot to offer and to show to tourists from the United States. The fly fishing program is something what we have as a complete tourist product. The rivers are very good, fish is excellent, we can provide good accommodation, excellent food, gastronomy of Bosnia is very good. All infrastructure for traveling, airports are not far away. We as a travel agency, we have our own vehicles, minivans, cars, whatever is needed for the job. So I hope that it will come.
As the fog over the River Socha clears, we find ourselves in the country outside of Tolmin at Vila Noblesa, the best fishing lodge in Slovenia.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning.
Look at that.
That's porcini.
And did you get them right here on the farm?
Yeah, just here, maybe 300 meters higher.
Branko Gašparin is a true Renaissance man, a chef and a inventor. He ran one of the most popular restaurants in the region for 20 years with his brother.
So, it's okay.
He is a collector of art and books and all things angling. And notable artists, writers, publishers, and photographers grace his walls and bookshelves with personalized treasures.
Look at this. Oh, you never see trout like this? Hybrid with the marbled trout and brown trout. You have red flecks also into the stomach.
Yeah.
Here,
and look right here.
Branko is also a very accomplished angler and hunter, and is his own highly skilled taxidermist. His personal den would be the envy of any sportsman lucky enough to visit.
Small wings.
But what really is impressive is Branko's fly tying table. A truly innovative and world-class tyer, Branko has won many international competitions, with original patterns tied with free-hanging hooks and a design philosophy committed completely to what fish see.
If you imagine that you are trout or grayling, and you see from the bottom and up what you see. When I finish the fly, I just taste it in the water, see?
Oh.
The hook is underwater and the fly needs to stay up.
Perfect silhouette.
Look at this.
All serious fly guys, Dave, Steve, and Dan, are spellbound.
Same?
Spent wing.
Yeah. That's a my fly, no? The hook is like ancora with the boats.
A keel.
Yeah, it's like a keel.
Yeah.
You see the silhouette?
Yeah, fantastic.
It's like a live fly. This is size 8. It's big. Now tell me what you see from the down and up. You see just little bit of this is the version what you must see, the fly. Not from up and down. From up and down we see the fly.
But what blows us all away are Branko's self-rising nymphs.
Here it comes. It's just a physics. Two material cannot be in same place. If it's air, cannot be water. But when the water come in, expel the air, and the CDC have this possibility. Look,
Catches on.
catches
all the bubbles.
The bubbles.
He's got his own self-rising nymph.
It's just a physics. This fly is deadly. It's crazy.
The Branko.
Chin, chin,
Yeah.
Branko.
The Branko. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Chin.
We are near the end of our journey in Slovenia, and guide Luka Hajnik, who is also a young lawyer working in Ljubljana, has agreed to take a day off and show us the Upper Socha, which might possibly be one of the most beautiful places on earth. Luca is sure that here, up near the very headwaters of this spectacular river, perhaps on one of the tributaries like the Lapina, we will finally find our wild marble trout. Luca is fishy, and we believe him.
Perfect! Perfect! Oh, got him! Nice job!
Our final day, and everything has changed. Rain has raised the water level, and a mayfly hatch is underway. Dave is finally hooked what this time we are sure is truly a marble.
He's skinny, but he's a marble.
This little creek, that's a giant fish.
The relief is palatable, and our quest for Slovenia's endemic trout on the fly is over.
Wow, that was a long time coming. We had a marble drought.
Yes!
Very generous.
The giddiness makes everyone feel magnanimous, but there's no time for backslapping. The mayflies are coming off in clouds, and a nice rainbow has come to the buffet.
He's eating duns, Dan, and he's chowing on them. He's eating every one that comes down. Oh my God, he's eating like I've never seen a fish eat.
In a moment of deja vu, Dan is on the stick, but this time with exactly the right touch.
He's grabbing everything he sees. It's a beautiful fish.
Oh, there we go.
The real one right on the other one.
You think he's like being amorous?
No, because they do that in the air.
With mayflies everywhere, another fish has taken up the feeding lane, and it looks promising for Dan.
It's a marble.
Is he?
It's a marble.
Hey, that's a marble.
Nice fat one. Beauty, Dan.
That's him.
Swing my first marble trout. Look at him. He's fat. 17, but beautiful fish. It's marble Slovenia mania. It's why we're alive. That's why we're here.
It's turning into one of those magical days that always seem to happen when you truly put in the effort. Dave scores next with an absolute hog rainbow.
The fish are on the bite today. We caught a fish on the first cast. Dan and I each caught marbles. We caught many rainbows each. It's just been constant action.
The guys work their way down the upper Socha and stick two more beautiful wild marbles along the way.
Look at that color. That's a native trout of Slovenia right there. That's pretty cool. And it's endemic to here only. Awesome.
Oh, he's a beauty. Look at the markings on him. Oh, baby. What a nice fish.
The river is also full of rainbows, and both Dan and Dave soon lose count.
This is unreal.
How seductively cruel of the Socha to flirt with us like this on our final day.
Okay, guys. This is the last day we wear these uniforms on this foreign soil. So wear it with pride. Marble trout on 3. 1, 2, 3. Marble trout! Go get 'em.
Alexei, Katya, 2005, they locked their love. David and Romana locked their love. You throw the key in the river when you're done, your love is eternal.
More Plivovitz already, Joe.
Photo Plivovitz, definitely.
Nice work, Ken. How many times? More?